Alright, so it's been a while since I've made a video about lighting because honestly I feel like lighting has kind of become boring in a way, because I feel like no matter what light you're going to buy right now, even for a budget price, you are going to get good enough results. Yes, some lights are going to be brighter and more color accurate than others, but for the most part, even the budget options are amazing right now to light a scene like this, for example, where you have like a key light and whatnot. But recently I've stumbled upon these lights from Small Rig. This is the Small Rig RF 10 flashlight for video and photography. And the reason why it got me so curious is because you can really shape this light however you want to and get really creative with it. So let me share with you everything you need to know about these lights, and then later on I'm going to show you how I am personally going to use these lights to make my boring background here a bit more interesting. However, before I start, I do want to mention that Small Rig sent me these lights for free in exchange of making this YouTube video. So first of all, the price for one of these lights is about $53, depending where you're going to buy it from. If you are going to buy it from AliExpress, you can get a cheaper price. I'm going to leave links down below for you to check out. Then the build quality is absolutely fantastic. It's entirely made of metal, which makes it feel solid and robust. It is also fairly compact, as you can see, pretty much the size of a compact flashlight, but because it is made of metal, it's a bit chunky and hefty. 420 grams, which is a bit heavy, honestly, for like a compact flashlight. But at the same time, you are getting fantastic build quality with this. If you are going to drop this light from like a light stand height and whatnot, I'm pretty sure it is going to withstand pretty much everything. Next, to mount the light somewhere, you have a 1/4" thread in here, 1/4" thread on the other side, and then also a 1/4" thread in here. And then here you have a USB-C port for charging the light. The battery life, according to Small Rig, is about 3 hours when using this light at full brightness. As far as I understand, you can also use it while charging. However, keep in mind that it gets very hot if you set it to full brightness and charging it at the same time. I've been using this light for about a week, I would say, something like that. And I did notice when charging and using the light at the same time, it gets very hot to the touch. Now, to control the light, you have this one knob in here. You cannot control the light from an application or something like that. If you want to turn it on, you basically twist it or turn it to the right and the light is going to turn on. And if you want to adjust the brightness, you're just going to, turn it left to lower the brightness or turn it right to put it at a higher brightness setting. And if you notice, if I'm going to quickly turn it to the left, it's going to blink, basically telling me that the light right now is at the lowest brightness setting. And if I'm going to do it to the other way, to the right, it's going to do the same thing and switch the light to the highest brightness setting. Also, you have 4 colors to choose from with this light. You have white, then you have red, orange, and blue. Now the maximum output is 10 watts, as you can see, and it's not extremely bright, but just to, create like a shape or brighten up the background, whatever it is, I feel like it's more than bright enough. Let me switch it to a different color like red. As you can see, I'm shooting right now at f1.4, so it does make a difference, but still I feel like it's bright enough to use as like a practical light or something like that. Definitely I would not use this as like a key light, but to add some interest in the background, it's going to be more than bright enough in my opinion. However, what makes this light extremely versatile is this included rubber piece, which basically first allows you to mount it on the light relatively quickly, right? And then you can focus or shape the beam of light however you want to. So if you want it to be a narrow beam of light, you can, have it on. And if you want to have like a wider beam of light, you can take it off and whatnot. But also each one of these lights comes with these gobos, or more precisely 20 gobos each. And basically it has these shapes, as you can see, like circle, sun, whatever this is, square, lightning, this line shape, window, this window. Lots of shapes to choose from. Let me take this window shape for example, and the way you mount it on is by sliding it in to this rubber piece, like so. And now you basically have like a window, shaped light. But also this piece in here can rotate, allowing you to shape the light exactly how you want to in terms of like the angle of the light. And also you can extend this piece to make the light beam a bit smaller, basically make the shape a bit smaller. So look what happens if I'm going to pull it down. The shape becomes smaller. If I'm gonna put it back, it becomes bigger. As you can see, the shape becomes smaller. If I'm gonna push it back, it becomes bigger. And then I can also control the shape, the angle of the light. However, a couple of annoyances I want to mention with you guys. First of all, this rubber piece slides off way too easily sometimes. You can just touch it a little bit and then it like falls off. And I'm mentioning this because sometimes you're going to have the light like on a light stand or whatever. And when you're going to change the gobo to a different shape, you are also going to touch this rubber piece. And sometimes when you're gonna do all of this, you are going to take out this adapter by mistake, which is a bit annoying in my opinion. I wish it was a bit more, a bit more solid basically on the metal piece in here, because it's a bit too easy to take off. And then also mounting the gobo into this rubber piece is a bit annoying sometimes. Let me try to do it like relatively quickly. Here, now I've done a good job, but sometimes it gets stuck on the inside, like so, and you have to kind of reshape it. And maybe I am doing a terrible job or whatever, but I feel like if it had like a sliding design, it would have been a bit easier than doing this. Not, the end of the world, but it's a bit annoying in a way. And also, if you are going to change the color of the light, the angle of the shape is going to slightly change. So look what happens when I change the color. Now I'm using white color. Red, as you can see, it went slightly downwards and to the right. Here is orange. Here is blue. And here is white. It's basically like going in a circle. And I think the reason why it happens is because, as you can see in here, you basically have like 4 LED chips and it's like going in a circle, which means the light angle is slightly going to change. It's not the end of the world again, but it's definitely something to consider. All right, now let me actually show you how I'm going to use these lights to make my shot here a bit more interesting. And because I know for a fact that I want to have a rim light on this side of my face, I'm going to use one of these lights in here, basically slightly out of frame, shining to here to basically illuminate this part of my face and creating further separation between me and the background. So the way I'm going to do it is I'm gonna take one of these lights, mount this thing just to have a more narrow beam of light so that the light is not going to spill anywhere in the room. And then I'm going to mount it here on this closet behind me. All right, so I switched to my DJI Pocket 3 and now I'm going to mount this light on my small rig magic arm. And then I'm probably going to put it right here, just out of frame, and it's going to shine towards this part of my face, basically to create like a rim light effect. So let's put it here. I'm going to angle it to this side. Let's turn it on. I'm going to use the white light just to keep it a bit easier. Come on, I'm gonna set it to probably the lowest brightness and maybe one level up. Maybe slightly readjust it to something like this. All right, so I can definitely see it in here and also on my shoulder. And this basically creates further separation between me and the background. Let me turn it off just so you can see the difference a bit better. So here is how it looks like when it's completely off. And here it is turned on at the 3rd brightness setting. And I feel like this looks a bit more interesting than before. But now let's take this second light and I'm going to use one of the gobos and add like a shape in the background here to make the background a bit more interesting. So I'm gonna start with this window gobo shape. Sure, it's this way. And now as you can see, we have like a shape going on and I'm gonna put it right in the center. Maybe something like this. I can rotate the light around. Let's see how it looks. Wow, definitely a lot more interesting. And the reason why I shaped it with this kind of angle is because I have the key light coming from here, basically above me and going downwards. And this shape basically makes the key light look like it's motivated by a window light in a way. So I feel like it's a bit more logical to shape it this way because the main light is coming above me in this angle as well. But now let's try like a different shape because I'm not sure about this one. Maybe let's go with this shape. It's like a Chinese lantern, I think. All right, this shape is definitely a lot more interesting, and I'm also going to put it at this angle just to motivate my key light. And I'm just gonna put it maybe something like this actually. Let me see. No, this doesn't look good. Just gonna keep it big. All right, let's see. Okay, this one is definitely a lot more interesting than the previous one. And again, I shaped the light in this angle to motivate the key light. And I like this opening in here, right? Between the actual small rig light and then my sunset light in here, the blue sunset light. So it looks like, I don't know, it looks kind of interesting with this blue shape and then this white light behind me. It definitely creates more interest basically in the background, but let's switch it to another color and see if that looks better. And again, if I'm going to switch a color, it's going to move the angle of the light, which is a bit annoying as you can see. So this means if I switch to a different color like orange, which I like, I'll have to reposition the light again. Which is not a big deal, but it's definitely a bit annoying. All right, it's okay, but I feel like the white one was a bit more natural, if you will, and I'm definitely a fan of the white light than this orange light. But it still kind of works. It just looks a bit like gamery in a way, which I'm not the biggest fan of. All right, finally, I just want to try another shape, and also I want to position this light, this background light, on the other side of the room to see if it looks a bit more interesting. So let me change the gobo. Okay, and now I'm going to position the light here. Again, I want to motivate the key light, and I don't like how it's touching this light here. Let me see what I can do. All right, maybe something like this, you know? Let's see how this looks like. Nah. Nah. The other one was better. And let me see, I'm gonna shape it a bit differently here. This is definitely more interesting, but I just don't like what's happening in here with the shadows and whatnot. So yeah, I think I'm gonna just keep it. Yeah, so here is how it looks like when it's on the other side. Definitely much better because I don't get the shadow, you know, from this orange light here. And I feel like, at least for now, this is going to be my background. So as you can see, this one light in here separates me more from the background by adding, you know, a rim light on this part of my face. And then the other light, which is in here on my left, is basically creating this shape behind me. So if you want to, like, you know, customize the look of your studio shot and whatever, these lights are definitely a great option to consider. So I'm going to leave links for them down below for you to check out. Thank you, Small League, for sending these lights over to make this video. I'm extremely happy with these lights, at least so far. And yeah, if you have any questions or comments, let me know down below. And I guess I'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching.